I'm checking out my sources, and me going through my sources, I see that there's no timetable for Paul George's return. And when I see that, I say this is not good. This is not good for the Clippers, because they need to figure out what they can do to try to uphold and keep generating the type of points that Paul George puts out in order to be a factor in the playoffs, because Kawhi just can't do it by himself. He's going to need help from everybody. And, a lot of people may look at the days of one superstar carrying a team to win a championship. It's almost a foregone conclusion. It really is, because it's like the way you look at the NBA and the way it's constructed now, one guy winning a championship is so hard to do. It just seems like almost impossible. But I always say, if there's one guy who can do it, Kawhi Leonard can, because he's been known to, kill dynasties. He's been known to disrupt a lot of things on both ends of the floor. And, he's been known to be one of the top players in the league for a reason. Now, the Phoenix Suns, the one thing they do have in their favor, of course, they have, more depth in regards to their star power, but they don't have more depth overall as a team, as a unit. And I think if, Norman Powell can come in and give them the minutes and the points that, he's giving them now, maybe not 27, 28 points, but if he can at least give them an average of 20 points, 19 points per game, that will propel the Clippers to, definitely win, because if they're getting that type of production from him and just a few others chip in, as I said in my previous video, they have to average about 35, 40, 30 to 40, points off the bench, per game, because that's the only way I think the Clippers are going to win this series, because Kawhi and KD are going to box each other out, basically. So, I mean, it's going to be tough, but either way, it's going to be tough without Paul George. And, listening to, some podcasts, things like that, and also reading up on my sources, you can check out a few, but it's not looking good for Paul George, because there's no timetable for his return. He's doing some rehabilitation, type exercises and activities right now. It doesn't really look like, he's going to return anytime soon. And, if he does return to playoffs, they might actually have to make like the second round or something like that, for, him to return. And I don't know if they can get past, Kevin Durant and them so easily, because they have to just, play solid on the defensive end. And, that's something that Ty Lue is going to have to tell the guys, because if you're going to beat a team like, the Phoenix Suns, you're going to have to be solid on the defensive end. It can't really be no lapses. So, I mean, depending on what Clippers come out, they can win this series. They can, but they can also lose this series if they don't come out and focus on the defensive end more than the offensive end, because if they're not stopping what this team is doing or what this team is capable of doing with the star power players that they have, it doesn't matter how much offense they're putting up. They're not going to probably be able to keep up on a consistent basis, because KD and Book can put up 30 points plus on consistent nights, and you got to be able to match that. So the Clippers going to have to play collective, and they're going to have to play, very, very careful basketball is what they're going to have to play. They can't turn the ball over hardly any. I mean, every turnover is going to be crucial. But either way, I hate the fact that Paul George is not going to be a part of this, because, or at least he's not going to be a part of it in the early part. Now, maybe something might happen. Something might come awry. Maybe some good news will come in regards to PG soon. But right now, like I said, if it's no timetable for his return, and they're going to reevaluate him, I think I think it's like Saturday or something like that. They were saying it might be a little bit before then, but if they reevaluate him and see that there's nothing, improving on his side, of course, then they might actually extend that. And that's not what the Clippers nations want to hear, but it's exactly how it's going to go, depending on, what his status is and what, how far he's evolved with this injury, because this is the type of injury where, it can keep you out, or some players have played through it, but it's very tricky because depending on, I guess, the strength you have in that leg and how far back it was bent and how far it was hyperextended, that definitely makes a difference in regards to your pivoting, all those type things, turning, all that stuff, jumping. So, I mean, it's one of those type of injuries that are kind of freakish. And, I hope that Paul George, gets through it, because, Kawhi definitely needs, Paul George, especially going against a team like the Phoenix Suns, because they got so much star power up top. It's definitely would be helpful, useful to have Paul George there, because that's a guaranteed, 23 plus points Paul George can give you every game when he's out there, especially when he's playing the way he's supposed to. And I imagine that he will be playing the way he's supposed to if he was healthy, because they know they got to win a championship this year. So, it's going to be tough for Kawhi. It's going to be tough for this team not having Paul George around, because, like I said, they're used to his 23 points per game, and they're not really used to not having it. Even though, he missed about 30 games this year, Kawhi missed about 30 games, but even still, their offense, their whole sets and everything they run is predicated off what Paul George can give, along with, Kawhi Leonard, because those two are the guys. So, it's like, they have to kind of like regroup and revamp things a little bit when they don't have, that type of assistance. And it's going to be tough for the Clippers. And like I said, the way I look at it is this: if Paul George can at least come back, I'd say about maybe game 2 or game 3, I think the Clippers got a good chance of making a comeback in the series if they are down. Now you never know. Kawhi might go out there and drop a 40-45 piece on them, and a couple guys on the team come along, they might be able to steal one in Phoenix. And that's exactly what the Clippers want to do. You want to steal one out there at least, so you can go back home with some confidence that, you can keep the series afloat, and maybe you can get the momentum and seize the lead of the series. So, it's the goal, but you guys take it one step at a time, just rest up, get the necessary rest you need, and then, get in the lab and start figuring things out. Get a few days rest, get your bones and everything going, get everything, up and ready, because it's playoff time now, and there's no time for mistakes, and everybody needs to, tighten up and make less mistakes. So, it's the veterans, they got to school the younger guys, and young guys got to listen, and the Clippers got to put this all together, because it's the only way they're going to win a championship. And, if they could win this championship, that would be great. But it's going to be a tough one, especially starting out in the first round with a team like Phoenix without one of your main star players in Paul George, and not knowing when he's going to return. But as I said, it's no timetable for Paul George's return. He's doing his exercises and things like that, trying to rehabilitate as much as he can. So hopefully he comes back soon, because I think Kawhi definitely can use him. Hopefully Kawhi doesn't get tired out too much in the playoffs and kind of lose his wind a little bit by not having the help of Paul George. But even still, I think the Clippers are going to be a tough out either way, but they'll definitely be a even tougher out if they can get Paul George back before the, first round ends.